Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tonks and Tells. It's semi-finals night. We're joined by BetVictor's Charlie McCann. What a great lineup we have. First game on, Phil Taylor, James Wade. History here.
Yeah, of course, and James is the only person in the 32-runner field. When we started last weekend, of course, he'd won the title, but he's never beaten Phil, and of course he's had 5 losses as well in the final. And it's hard to see past Phil after last night. He was really He really dominated Dave Chisnell from ball one, and James is playing really well, and he's getting down on himself sometimes, but he's still averaging he was averaging early on 103, and I think he'll be tight, but I can't really see past Phil.
No, Phil at 2-9, James at 130, and we're looking at the tournament averages in the press room, and like you said, James has got the higher average throughout the tournament, and he is 130. It could be a great prize, really. It could be.
It could be. He's Phil. There was this myth, of course. I think Rod Studd mentioned it in commentary. There was whether it was ever true that Phil being a slow starter. Well, he certainly hasn't been this week. He's been right out. He's been right out the traps, quick. He's got to the lead, and he hasn't really been put under pressure. He'll want to do, I think, something similar to James. James, in all his games, has, I think, been in control of his games. Was there ever a time really when he meant to put him under pressure? This is the sort of the acid test to actually beat Phil Taylor at the Winter Gardens for anyone. Is the acid test. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Michael Van Gerwen, maybe he's a world champion. He is the world number one. Unless you actually beat Phil Taylor here on that stage, until then, the king is still the king. Yeah, and it's as simple as that.
It is, and of course, James, he like I said, the majors he's won. He swept up when Phil has been perhaps floored by another player. But the great thing with James, he won't worry hitting that double to beat Phil Taylor. So maybe the 130, but like you say, who could bet against Phil here?
Well, I certainly couldn't. It's as simple as that. And it's interesting on the outrights. We've seen money for Phil, 7-4 into 13-8, and as a result of that, I think we're the biggest price now on Michael Van Gerwen. He's even money from. It's interesting.
Yeah, 4-5.
I've got 4-5 there.
You gone even?
No 4-5. He's even money. It's
not
even
5-6, not 10-11.
No, it's even money now for Mighty Mike, and. As a result of that, the reason, of course, is he's even money is because he's got to beat, it would appear, he's certainly got to beat Peter Snakebite Wright, and he may have to beat Phil Taylor. And we came with the confidence, last year, he was the world champion last year, and he couldn't take him out here last year.
No, so 1 year on, it might not happen again, because should they meet in the final, we look at that Peter Wright 4-1. I was sure, and I think you were sure, that 4-1 was going to go from last evening, but he's still there strong, and Michael at 1-6.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've thought all along that this was a bet, that Peter Wright plus 5.5 legs at even money was a bet, and I insist it is. Michael might want. The great thing is about this, they don't like each other. There is no love lost. They're both on great form. No excuses. Absolutely no excuses. Is Peter's turn? He's always been, you thought, that sort of quarter-finalist, steady semi-finalist, played well. You've got to remember, but is he ready now? Is now the time? You almost think, wouldn't it be great for darts?
Yes.
I know Michael versus Phil is the one everybody, the neutral wants, but wouldn't it be great to have, because his image is fantastic? And again, and I go back to when he was in Japan recently, and Phil Taylor was there, Michael Van Gerwen, all your big household names, all the Japanese crowd, they all had the Mohicans. It was Peter Wright that they wanted, they got behind, and it's possible, he's hardly a spring chicken, sorry Peter, but is he almost the new face, the new image of darts? Rather than, I mean, but that is absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure it was difficult for Sky to actually not have Phil Taylor on last. But Michael Van Gerwen versus Peter Wright, as good a game as Phil and James is, MVG versus Snakebite had to be on last.
It has to be, and it's a little bit of needle there. And of course, great walk on, great look Peter Wright has, and let's say all the followers out there. And when you look at it, we've got Wright, we've got Wade. They're the two outsiders, and they're the players who they don't care who they play. They really do not care. No, we're going to do this. So I'll tell you what, I think we're in for a cracking night of darts.
I think it will be absolutely sensational. Really, really will be. I think we've got to put things in perspective as well as the tournament, as good a tournament as it's been. Those 4 quarterfinals were pretty ordinary affairs.
Yes, I agree.
Let's get it right. We didn't have any nail biters. Ian White played really well against Michael, but other than that, I thought the other 3 were ordinary fare. They were not really sort of competitive sort of games. I think at least one of them tonight really might go right down to the wire, and we might see something completely special. 7-1 for a 9 darter this evening as well.
7-1.
7-1 for a 9 darter this evening, but it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Really looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Paul, so that's Charlie McCann from BetVictor. Don't forget the interviews will be available with our winners later on Tonks and Tales. Thanks for joining us.